Kaboom.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the AIB Show. This is Amit.
And Dominic.
And it's a pretty gloomy Friday morning here in Miami. I don't know what it's like in whatever part of the world you're in, Dominic, but it feels like winter. Except I know it's I haven't gone outside yet, but I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
It's like 75 degrees.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't gone outside yet, but it feels like winter out there. And I just got back from LA, and it was definitely cold in LA. So I'm all over the place right now by way of my temperature gauge.
That's a winter.
Is it 75 for real by you?
Yeah, I feel like it's 75 by you.
No, but you're wearing a sweatshirt. You're outside wearing a sweatshirt in 75, which makes you ridiculous. I'm inside with the ACs.
This is a light, long sleeve t-shirt. Light long sleeve t-shirt that happens to have a hoodie.
In 77-degree weather.
I never said 77. Here, I'll tell you what it is right now.
I said.
I'll tell you what it is right now.
Uh-huh.
You're wearing a hoodie in your house. Just change the air condition.
No, I turned it off. It's so brisk. Yo.
Oh, okay. Right now it's 64 degrees, actually.
That's exactly what I said. I said it feels like winter out there.
All right.
You know? Now, for you people who aren't down here in the South Florida region, I get it. 60, whatever is pretty balmy for you people. But for me, who've gotten recently reacclimated to having no tolerance for cold weather, it's brisk. But I digress. Talk to me, Dominic.
Thomas Raynard James. Just learned of him last week. I don't know if you heard. Listen to the Dan Le Batard show, Amit.
With Stugatz?
Yeah. So Billy Corbin, he's a film producer, from famous for Cocaine Cowboys. I guess was his first big one. And on ESPN, The U Part 2. He's done Broke. He's done some other ones as well. Interesting. The whole baseball scandal one.
Yeah.
So he came on the show, on the Dan Le Batard show with Stugatz. Great podcast to listen to, by the way. Probably our favorite of all time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, actually, yeah.
By far. We've been listening to them since they were on AM radio back in 2004 or 2006, something like that.
Yeah, and when I moved, I had to find ways to listen to them in other parts of the country.
Pre-podcast.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. Great podcast. Hilarious. A lot of sports, a lot of social issues as well, and just well done. Anyway.
Yeah, and if Mike, Dan, Stu, Cody, anybody, everybody, Billy, etc., if y'all want to follow us too, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. I mean, you got Tony.
Yeah.
Jessica, everybody in there, the whole thing. Yeah, big two Codys. Continue.
So, Thomas Raynard James is an individual who's been locked up for 30 plus years here in the state of Florida for a murder which he seemingly did not commit.
Not seemingly, he didn't.
Well, I guess again until he's proven that he did.
Okay,
he didn't commit. Yes.
Correct.
So, back in 1990 or 1991, there was a robbery in Coconut Grove in Miami, in which two individuals broke into an apartment, robbed them for a few $100, and shot and killed the husband. Witnesses described two individuals who went in, one of them being someone named Vincent Dog Williams and another one being Thomas James. Detectives were looking for a Thomas James for weeks, and then they finally found another Thomas. Mind you, the witnesses described Thomas James who lived in Coconut Grove. They knew him. They couldn't find him. They found a Thomas James who lived in Liberty City about 25 minutes away. Thomas Raynard James. Picked him up, brought him in. 5 witnesses said that's not the guy. 2 witnesses did. The daughter of the victim. I don't know how old she was at the time. The daughter of the victim. And then what's described as a cognitively disadvantaged can collector walking the streets. Said he was the victim. They convicted him really quickly, sentenced to life in prison. It's been 30 plus years. In that time, the other Thomas, the actual Thomas who was there, Thomas James of the same name, has said, I'm the one who was there. It absolutely was me. It wasn't that guy.
Hold up, the criminal said that he was...
he's admitted it. He's in prison right now.
Oh, all right.
He's in prison, and he says, listen, this is messed up. That's not the guy who did it.
The criminal with a conscience? Like he's following his own story and saying, hey, wow.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. He's actually convicted for the murder. He's also claiming he didn't do the shooting, right? So Thomas James, not Raynard, the guy who's in prison for another issue, right, claims he was there but didn't do the shooting, which by law, guilty by association, the accomplice in certain states can get convicted of that. He said it was this Vincent Williams guy that did it. But anyway, he said absolutely Thomas Raynard was not there. Doesn't know who he is. No one knows who this guy was. He was a 23-year-old living 30 minutes away. He got picked up. So he's filed objections over the years. And last year, GQ had an investigative report done by Jess Swanson that came up with a whole heap of evidence as to why Thomas Raynard is innocent. And then the Miami New Times did a piece as well, following up on that, submitting an evidence. You have a retired police chief, a retired, police investigator, who all he did was prosecute and go after, investigate homicides, who was responsible for locking up many, many people. He's retired. He spent a great deal of time researching this the past few years and will go to his grave saying that Thomas Raynard James is innocent and has been trying to get him out. Now, the state attorney's office received all of this information 8, 9, 10 months ago, right? They still haven't done anything. He's still locked up. They're saying it's a case of the case being reviewed still, that they don't have potentially the resources. They're the largest prosecutorial department, my understanding is, in the country. They have resources. They're just not doing it. So what I'm imploring everybody to do is to email the state attorney, Catherine Fernandez Rundle, who is a horrible individual, quite frankly, when it comes to justice. She's been around forever. Simply email. You don't have to take what I'm saying as, proof that he's innocent. All I want everybody to do is simply email and ask them to expedite the review of the case. I'm not asking you to demand that they free this man, because as you're listening to me, it could be conjectured. You don't know that he's innocent, right? But all I'm imploring you is to simply email and demand that they expedite the review of the case, at which point they're likely going to find him, release him once they review the evidence. But it's been, again, 10 months. He's sitting there. It's arguably worse than the 30 years he's been there, because now they know he's innocent and it's just sitting there as a case file. So her email address is,
and we'll put this in the show notes as well.
Yeah. Catherine Fernandez Rundle at MiamiSAO.com. So Catherine is KATHERINE. Then Fernandez, F as in Frank, ERNANDEZ. And then Rundle, RUNDLE at Miami, S as in Sam, A as in Apple, O as in Oscar.com. Catherine Fernandez Rundle at MiamiSAO.com. You may also want to email her and suggest you get a shorter email address. This is wild.
I was about to say, is this part of the ploy? That's why nobody ever emails her?
I'm making it harder for people to just do this.
I'm convinced that's what some people are doing. They're adding on a bunch of stuff. There's an Esquire at the end of that, and they happen to be a lawyer, just to add everything on there to make it very, very hard for people to go through that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So please feel free to look into this again. Thomas Raynard, RAYNARD James. If you want to take a stab and guess what ethnicity is, I'm sure you can figure it out, given that they're disproportionately prosecuted and convicted in this country. He's what they would call a Negro.
What?
So, yeah.
What? That's just
was economically disadvantaged. Yeah. So free Thomas Raynard James. Please, again, just demand that the office, actually not ask, demand that they expedite the review of his case and his situation.
Wow. Okay.
On today's Who Knows.
Wow, we're already going there, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
We got to get some music for this or something to kind of kick in.
We have the intro song. The intro song is Who Knows.
Yeah, I know, but that's played already. But I'm talking like you got to revisit this segment now. But continue.
True. Oh, but we could bring back the choo-choo-choo.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, I got this. That's my point. I got to figure out the sound.
So Who Knows? I just learned this, and I guess I kind of subconsciously knew it, but Did you know that when you look at the sun, it's really like looking at the past, like looking at and like telescopes are de facto time machines. Does that make sense? Because it takes 8 minutes for the light of the sun to hit the earth. So when you look at the sun, you're actually looking at something 8 minutes ago. Now, take that a step further. When you look at the stars, it's potentially millions of years it's taken that light to get there. Millions. So telescopes are actually like time machines because you're looking far out to the past. So I saw this I was fascinated by this new telescope that's being launched, $10 billion. And it's going to go back essentially 100 million years ago. That's so nerdly fascinating to me. I don't even know how to handle it. But yeah.
No, that telescope is supposed to be, it's crazy. The things that it has, but it also has to
perfectly unfold. 110 screws, pins have to come out for it to blossom like a rose, like a flower.
Literally.
And not one of them can mess up. And then if it gets stuck, they have a mechanism to rotate it and shimmy it. So the interviewer was saying, so basically what you guys are going to do with a $10 billion telescope way out in space where no one's ever been is what I do when my electronics don't work. I just grab it and shake it.
Yeah, shake it, blow inside. That's what you do. It's a cartridge. I guess.
Yeah. So that's fascinating to me. That when we look out and explore in space, it's actually kind of back in time. Doc Brown, Marty McFly up in here.
Yeah, for real. So I'm gonna play the Dominic role today, and what I mean by that is, as you all hopefully have heard, I mean, and I say hopefully because you're following the news in any which way, and I'm looking for homie's name, which is my bad. Supreme Court judge who is retiring. His name is.
I actually forgot.
Okay, so there's a Supreme Court judge who's retiring. He was appointed by Clinton, I think. Clinton back in the day. Anyway, the homie's been
Clinton
around
or
for
Reagan?
A while.
Was it Reagan? I don't know.
No. He's blue friendly, so he's definitely not Reagan. Is my assumption. Anyway, he's retiring. So Biden had made a promise during his
Stephen Breyer.
There we go. And Biden had made a promise during his campaign that if he got the opportunity, he would appoint a black female to the role or to fill that spot. Doesn't affect anything by way of, opinions within the Supreme Court because this person is probably going to be left-leaning because Biden's appointing her. Anyway, Ben Carson. You familiar with Ben Carson?
Evidently a brilliant doctor, but a complete idiot in regards to everything else.
Okay,
but
correct.
A phenomenally brilliant doctor. Yes.
So Ben Carson is for those of you who know, he's a black Republican. I know that sounds weird, but he's a black Republican who's also very vocal.
He was head of what wasn't he appointed head of HUD?
Yep.
Which is also very weird by Trump.
All that stuff.
And made some not great moves and decisions. Yeah. Housing and urban development.
All the moves, I mean, not great. The majority were bad. But so he's now come out against this particular move of Biden and saying that it is he slams Biden for abominable identity politics on the SCOTUS pick, which I again find very interesting. Because one, Biden said he was going to do this, point number one. Point number two, there aren't any black women on the Supreme Court. He is a black man. Why would this? And if you're trying to find some kind of not parity is not the right word, but some kind of representation, representation within the group, you have to aspire to pick people based on things that aren't currently represented, right? In order to get some kind of decent cross section, one would assume. But this man is fighting against this, and I'm perplexed. Like I don't understand why. I mean, I guess he's made it, and like I said all the time too, people are generally innately selfish. So I guess he's made it as a black man. So maybe he doesn't really care about the overall.
It's funny.
I don't want to expand beyond that.
I talked to my wife the other day about I can't stand when people do that.
Do what?
I did it. Why can't you do it?
But it's well, first of all, there's so many things that if that was the case, we'd all be friggin' rich and wealthy, period, as a whole society. So that's obviously a foolish stance on anything, independent of cultures or whatever. then they're always outlining scenarios, and everybody's got their own life experiences that dictate and determine where things can go. And luck is an amazing part of these things.
Luck is great. I mean, because listen, yeah, because many people say I worked my ass off when I did it, and kudos to you. But other people also work their ass off and try, and it doesn't work out that way for a myriad of circumstances, including bad luck.
That's
whether it's some random thing in employment, some policing issues, some housing issues, being born, depending what kind of family you're born into. And mind you, again, there are people born into horrific situations, regardless of color, that have turned their lives around in a tremendous way. But that doesn't mean because you did it that everyone should and easily be able to. But anyway, my bad. Go on.
No, Carson. I was just saying that this is it's. But by the way, it's not just, so Ben Carson is also, he is, as you would expect, he does some commentary on Fox News. And as you would also expect, Fox News is going AS over the fact that there is a black woman, that Biden is focusing on appointing a black woman to the Supreme Court. Like, legitimately, this has been making, obviously, the rounds across the board. It's been crazy. I don't like, now, the guys that is going under is we aren't giving people, the society at whole, a fair shake because we're focused on this one subsection of culture, gender, etc. to a point, right? It's not like the Fox News trope is, you should just go, I need the best possible person out there to represent, and that person could be white, black, etc., male, female, so on and so forth. The reality is, as we've just said, there are a myriad of difficulties for a lot of people across the board to make it to certain levels to even get noticed, appointed, and so on and so forth, to have the credibility or have whatever to fall into this category. And as you would expect, the majority of them happen to be white, and the majority of them happen to be male, right? So not even the female side, and just the way our society has been for a long period of time.
Straight white males.
Correct. Therefore, if you want, and I wouldn't say straight, there may be a bunch of closeted ones too, so I don't know that to be fact, but white males for sure. Or who identify as straight in the public. Either way, the point being, if you want, as I just mentioned, if you're trying to have some type of representation, you have to find people who aren't represented to elevate them to position so that there can be representation and a trickle-down effect related to this. Not trickle-down economics, by the way, but all established that does not work. This is different. This is, you want people with different thought processes, different ways of interpreting and addressing certain laws that do exist so that they can then impact change that hopefully could benefit generations beyond theirs. So the idea that you're fighting against this is, it's frustrating, but it's easy. It's borderline expected to strike white fear. And the other part of that too is the whole situation that comes down, because this all trickles down. This compounds on the non-existent teaching in schools, right, of critical race theory, right? So it's like straw man argument over straw man argument. These arguments don't exist. Yeah. They're creating these arguments and then enraging people who feel underrepresented, which is comedic because general people who feel quote unquote underrepresented or feel attacked, and in this situation, these people happen to be white, are in fact overly represented. And as we've just explained with the previous situation with the gentleman in jail, probably have a better shake or better chance of getting a foot up in society. Not that they don't have to work, not that it's given to them. You just have a better shake. Yes. It frustrates the hell out of me.
Do you think it was wise to announce it pre-thing, or that was kind of a campaign move, but just do it?
No, so it was a campaign promise that he had made. As we've seen currently, there are many campaign promises that have not come to fruition, and so he wants to, I should say,
it's also a campaign promise. He said his running mate was going to be a woman as well.
Yeah,
and also women. He happened to choose the wrong woman, but we'll get into that.
Point being, this fight, this uproar is blatantly ridiculous, and in my opinion, obviously, and comedic, and also so expected, right? I mean, it's so expected.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe fight against if you don't like who he chooses, which they probably won't like anyone he chooses.
No, so there are two people who are the most likely, two women who are the most likely candidates.
Have I heard of any of them?
They know who's going to choose. Pardon me?
You think
I
I've
didn't
heard
hear
of
of
any?
anybody till they're selected. I didn't know Kavanaugh. I didn't know these people till they were announced. I mean,
True.
you think I'm following the hierarchy of the courts in the U.S.? No, man. I don't know these people. Come on now. Did you know these people? Come on now.
No, I didn't.
You know them after I mean, everybody knows RBG because she's RBG. I don't know
Fair
the hell
enough.
she did before that.
Fair
So I don't
enough.
know this person either, is my point. Or these two women, sorry. So whoever does get selected, again, I have no say in this matter, nor do I know what's going to happen. But the other part of doing this fear-mongering tactic is because, again, you need all the Dems to vote to get her in. And you need, right? And if anybody falters, so if you put this race situation out there and anybody on the Dem side, and obviously they've had very limited support over a lot of things, if anybody falters, then this does not happen. And then Biden looks like a chump. And you put you can't mute your mic and then
my bad. Here's the thing, Biden. So 2 things. One, this is the only reason I voted for this man. I don't think we talk about the show, but you know this in general. Mm-hmm. Listen, we know your disdain for Trump, my disdain for Trump. I have almost the same disdain for Biden, which is shocking to many people because as much as we loathe Trump and many politicians. And I actually wasn't going to vote because in good conscience, I'm not about the whole lesser of two evils thing. This reason,
which I will
Supreme
never
Court,
understand, by the way. That whole concept doesn't make any sense to me. The fact that you would not
no,
be
because I mocked our boy back in 2000.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, but the lesser
for voting for Ralph Nader, and then in essence George W. Barely won the election. Actually, didn't win Florida, but somehow did officially become president for picking who he believed was the right choice in Ralph Nader when it was a meaningless vote, which we knew.
Correct.
He had no shot.
Yes,
but why would I support if either way it's going to be shit in my opinion, either president? Why would I choose one that's slightly better? What's the point?
Hold up.
How does the system ever change?
Hold up. If you're trying to tell me that I'm going to go for the worst meal possible that I can't even palate, and this one's a little less worse, I'm going to say they're the same?
No, they both make you vomit. So what's the difference? One makes you vomit a minute earlier than the other one?
No.
They're not bad tasting meals. They're horrific, infested salmonella,
they both
poison.
No.
Rotten.
No. That's not the same because they're at that point you're saying they are the same.
They're just about the same.
But if they can't be just about the same.
One of them is just a jackass overtly, and the other one is the same guy who just knows how to control himself. That's it. They're the same person.
See, that's not true in my view because the jackass, right, is headstrong in his foolishness. He will double down on idiocy and make idiocy a thing.
Joe Biden is the author of the crime bill from 1992. No. Hear me out. You mentioned double down. We know that. He came out when running for president, laughing at the fact when every other politician who signed that thing regrets what they did for what it did to this country, locking up so many black and brown people, disproportionately so, ruining lives, ruining families, ruining generations of families, ruining communities, actually increasing crime in the long run. This jackass came out, laughed about it in different situations when asked, was proud of it, he said, and thought it absurd to even doubt that he did it. So you can't talk to me about doubling down.
Hold up. No, agreed. The difference, okay, I'm not saying this dude is without fault because that'd be foolish for me to say. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is things like this, things like the next Supreme Court judge, right? The things like he is open to almost a fault to finding a happy medium between, not almost a fault, to a fault.
Yeah. Okay, happy medium because he went to the funeral of what's his name, that racist Senator Thurman out of South Carolina, because he said we had to find a happy medium.
I'm with you, but my point is, but they're not the same as my point. One person is trying to do too much to be liked by all, right? Which is
one person. Okay, here's how they're not the same. One person is ridiculously insecure, and the other one is not.
Hold up, which is which? I'm very confused.
Obviously, Trump is the insecure clown. Right?
I mean, he's a clown.
Secure. Oh, you don't think he's insecure?
No, that's a good point. I'll give you that. No,
I couldn't think of a more perfect definition of somebody who's insecure. False bravado.
Oh, that's gonna be it.
So anyway,
yes. Okay.
my mother-in-law said, think about Supreme Court justices over the next 4 years. If something happens, they need to replace. Do you trust? Would you prefer someone Trump would put on or someone Biden would put on? That's when I knew I had to vote. That's it.
The lesser of two evils.
Nah.
That's literally what it is. That's exactly what it is, man. Oh my God, man. So your mother-in-law put a different shine on it. You're like, oh, that's totally different. That's exactly what I've been saying the whole time. Lesser of two evils. Damn it. Oh my God.
My other thing was, let's hope he actually picks somebody just because they're black that actually somebody we'd want there. For example,
hold on.
Clarence Thomas is not somebody we ever want on that Supreme Court.
Ben Carson, apparently he's an idiot as well. I'm not saying
but Clarence Thomas has been on there for a while. Black man, nobody we'd want on that court.
Totally with you. I'm not saying that whoever's, again, I don't know who these people are because I'm not following things to that level. But what I am telling you is, what the F is that?
What?
Are you hearing that?
No.
Oh, that was on my side. I have a tab open and an ad popped up and started making noise in my ear, but I thought it was going over the mic. Luckily, it did not. Anyway, yes. So that was the whole point. I just found that I found it interesting that Ben Carson and company and Fox News. Not interesting. Right. Find it obviously they do this.
Justice over order. Be better. Again, please email.
Yes, we'll put in the show notes.
We'll put Catherine Fernandez Rundle at MiamiSAO.com. Catherine Fernandez Rundle.
We'll put in the show notes. You can click on the link. Notes.
Thomas Raynard James, just demand that they expedite the review of the case. That's it. If you don't want to say
throw it up on Facebook right now too. Type it in the Facebook chat so it's there as well for anybody who listens, finds us on Facebook later. We'll have it there as well. Also, do us a favor, please. Like, review, rate, all that good stuff associated with this project. We're trying to be better. We're trying to find ways to promote the show. Trying to find ways to engage and trying to find ways to find conversations.
And we're bringing the clips back on Instagram. I slacked on that, the weekly highlights. So it's a great way to share the show. But you can also when you're listening, just do a screenshot and tag us, whatever you're comfortable with. Anything else?
On a side note,
Facebook,
we're also the AIB show is also hiring a producer, a second producer for the show as well. And by hiring, I mean free intern. But yes, we are looking to expand the team.
Looking for somebody to help with chopping up the video content, the audio.
Somebody to make us better because somebody's more savvy at this than we by way of production. So I'm happy to know anybody. Forward along. And in the interim,
be better, justice over order, eat better.
I'm going to let it sit there. You guys have a great one. We'll chat soon.